What if everything you know about human history is a lie, and entire civilizations were wiped out in a single heartbeat, leaving no trace behind? Imagine walking through a dense, suffocating jungle, the air thick with humidity and the smell of rotting vegetation, only to stumble upon massive, intricate stone structures reclaimed by vines, empty of life, empty of answers. We aren't just talking about simple ruins, we are talking about the total, systematic erasure of human existence. The silence they left behind is deafening, a vacuum where voices once echoed. Why did millions of people just vanish? The Maya, once masters of the stars, celestial mechanics, and complex mathematics, watched their world crumble into dust. It wasn't just a drought or a bad harvest. It was a societal implosion of catastrophic proportions. They built pyramids that aligned with the heavens, tracking the movements of Venus and the Sun with chilling precision, yet they couldn't save themselves from a slow, agonizing decline. But that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part is that we still don't know the exact, singular trigger for their total abandonment of the great cities. Did they lose faith in their divine kings? Did the soil turn to salt, rendering their agriculture impossible? Or was there something else, something sinister lurking in the shadows of their social hierarchy? Think about the psychological horror of waking up one day in a city of millions, only to realize your neighbors have left in the night, your gods have stopped speaking through the priests, and the food has run out entirely. It's a terrifying thought, isn't it? And then something even more disturbing happened. The evidence suggests they didn't just walk away, they were hunted by their own desperation. We look at the ruins now and think of them as mystical, sacred sites, but back then, it was likely a nightmare of starvation, religious panic, and brutal violence. Could this same fate await us? We like to think we're different because of our technology, but are we? Maybe we're just another empire waiting to be forgotten, another statistic in the ledger of cosmic turnover. Now, let's drift further into the dark, into the legend that keeps historians up at night, Atlantis. People call it a myth, a bedtime story for philosophers, or a metaphor for human hubris. But what if the core of the story is anchored in a harrowing, forgotten reality? Plato described a naval power that sank in a single day and night of misfortune. Many dismiss this as allegory, but what if the cataclysm wasn't just a flood, but a complete, rapid erasure of advanced technology and governance? Think about the sheer scale of such a loss. If a civilization with advanced metallurgical or engineering secrets existed, their knowledge is now buried under miles of cold, crushing, lightless ocean. Does it scare you that we know more about the craters of the moon than the bottom of our own seas? We search for signs of life in deep space while ignoring the ghosts beneath our waves. Some theories suggest Atlantis was a precursor to our own global connectivity, a hub of knowledge that was swallowed by the Earth itself. It's a haunting reminder that no matter how high we climb, no matter how grand our skyscrapers or digital networks, nature can drag us back down in an instant. The psychological weight of such a loss is immense. It's the ultimate erasure. And just when you think you've got a grasp on the timeline, you stumble upon the forgotten ones, the peoples whose names were never written down, whose languages have been scrubbed from history. They built massive mounds, intricate underground cities, and stone circles that still defy modern physics, utilizing stones that weigh hundreds of tons. They didn't leave behind scrolls or statues of kings to boast of their victories. They were the silent architects of the past. Who were they? Why did they choose to remain anonymous, leaving only stone to speak for them? Perhaps they understood something we don't, that fame is fleeting and history is just a series of tragedies waiting to be repeated. These cultures didn't collapse because of one big war, they faded because they were overlooked by time itself. It's a slow, quiet death of a culture, like a candle flickering out in a vast, empty room. And that is perhaps more terrifying than a violent end. It means you can be forgotten entirely, stripped of your identity and your legacy. Does it keep you up at night knowing that one day, your entire life, your digital footprint, and your contributions could be nothing more than a weird rock formation in a field, ignored by hikers who have no idea you ever existed? Now, look at the wars that shattered empires. The Bronze Age collapse is the gold standard of absolute societal horror. In just a few decades, almost every major city in the Mediterranean was burned to the ground. It was a domino effect of misery. Trade routes vanished, literacy rates plummeted, and the world went dark. It wasn't just a period of conflict, it was a total reset button for human progress. Imagine living through that, the collapse of everything you rely on. The electricity, the supply chains, the government, the very concept of safety, all of it gone overnight. Would you survive? The psychological impact on those who lived through it must have been profound, a trauma that echoes through the archaeological record. We see the scars in the strata, the charred layers of ash, the skeletons left in the streets, the abandoned bronze tools that were never picked up. It's a brutal, honest history that we often try to sugarcoat with narratives of progress. But the reality is much bleaker. It's a warning. If it happened then to the most advanced societies of their time, it can happen again. And it's happening right now, in the dirt, under our feet. Recent discoveries are changing everything we thought we knew. We're finding sites like Göbekli Tepe, which shouldn't exist according to our neat, linear timeline. It pushes the origin of organized civilization back thousands of years, to a time when we thought humans were nothing more than simple hunter-gatherers. It's a discovery that makes the old textbooks look like fairy tales. Every year, new laser scanning tech reveals structures hidden under the canopy of the Amazon or deep in the shifting deserts of the Middle East. It's like the Earth is finally exhaling its secrets. But every answer brings 10 more questions. Why are these sites so complex? Why were they buried on purpose, as if the builders were trying to hide them from the future? It feels like we are playing a game of catch-up with our own past, running to understand a history that was meant to stay hidden, a dark, complex, and incredibly sophisticated past that we've been blind to for centuries. It's unsettling to think that we are living on top of the graves of giants. We are the survivors, the ones who inherited the broken, scattered pieces of a much larger, much older puzzle. As we dig deeper, we find that the past isn't dead, it's just waiting to be remembered. We are standing on the edge of a new understanding, but the abyss is deep and the darkness is absolute. Are we ready to face the truth of our own fragility? The patterns are there, hidden in the ruins, waiting for someone to connect the dots. The silence of these fallen empires is not an absence of sound, but a warning we are choosing to ignore. We study the past to predict the future, but what if the future is just a loop? A cycle of rise, fall, and erasure? It's a cycle that has claimed civilizations far more advanced than we can imagine, cultures that mastered arts and sciences we are only now starting to rediscover. And as we continue to push the boundaries of what is possible, we must wonder if we are building our own future ruins. The irony of human history is that the more we build, the more we have to lose. The mystery of these lost empires is a mirror. When we look at them, we see our own fears reflected back at us. The fear of being forgotten, the fear of losing control, the fear of the final end. But the cycle continues regardless of our apprehension. Every generation thinks it's the pinnacle of achievement, only to be humbled by the sheer scale of what came before. We are merely the current chapter in a very long, very dark book. The pages are turning, and the ink is already beginning to fade. We hold on to the shreds of knowledge we have, desperately trying to construct a narrative that makes sense of the chaos. But chaos is the only constant. The empires fell, the people died, and the jungle grew over their bones. That is the ultimate truth of our existence. We are here for a blink of an eye, and then we are gone. The question is, what will we leave behind? A legacy, or just more rubble for the future to dig through? It's a humbling, terrifying prospect. We spend our lives chasing significance, while the universe is busy erasing our tracks. It's a cosmic game of hide and seek, and we are the ones who are hiding. But eventually, everything is found, and everything is lost. This is the duality of history. It is both a record of our triumphs and a graveyard of our failures. And in that graveyard, there are stories that deserve to be told, even if they end in tragedy. The Maya, the Atlanteans, the forgotten builders, they all had their moment in the sun. And now, they have their moment in the dark. It's a cycle as old as time itself. And as we look into the future, we have to ask ourselves, are we prepared to be the next mystery? Are we ready to be the ones who are dug up by a future civilization that views us with the same confusion and wonder? The thought is enough to stop you in your tracks. But we keep going, because curiosity is hardwired into our DNA. We need to know. We need to understand. Even if the answer is something we don't want to hear. The search for these hidden truths is perhaps the most important thing we can do. It keeps us grounded in the reality of our own impermanence. It reminds us that we are not the masters of this planet, but merely its temporary occupants. So, take a moment to look at the world around you. Really look. Everything you see is a work in progress, a temporary state that will eventually return to the earth. It's not meant to be depressing, it's meant to be liberating. If nothing lasts, then everything matters right now. Every discovery, every thought, every connection. We are part of a massive, unfolding mystery, and we are lucky to be the ones witnessing it. But don't get too comfortable. The past is a volatile thing. It shifts and changes as we find new pieces of the puzzle. What we think we know today might be completely overturned tomorrow. And that is the beauty of it. The history of the world is not a static document, it's a living, breathing entity that grows with every new excavation. We are the detectives of the past, piecing together a story that was never meant to be told. And the deeper we go, the more the lines between history and myth begin to blur. Is there a difference? Maybe history is just the myth we've agreed upon. The lost empires are proof that reality is far stranger than any fiction we could invent. They are the anomalies, the glitches in the system that remind us how little we actually know. We act as if we are the apex of human achievement, yet we are surrounded by evidence that others have reached these heights before, only to be swallowed by time. It is a sobering realization. Every empire believes it is eternal, yet every empire creates the conditions for its own eventual collapse. We are building our future ruins right now, one brick, one server, one city at a time. The very things we value most, our connectivity, our speed, our reliance on complex systems, are the very things that make us vulnerable to the same collapse that claimed the Bronze Age. We are not immune, we are simply the next in line. And as we close this chapter, remember that there is always more to the story. There are still countless mysteries left to discover, buried under the silt of time, waiting for the right light to reveal them. The truth is out there, hidden in the shadows of the past, waiting for you to find it.